God becomes much more abstract as an idea, as a concept.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar,
Linguistically speaking, he's referred to as a male god. However, it's really a very abstract concept of divinity, and definitely there's no tolerance of any female divinity there.
In their structure and rules, Christianity and Islam represent the final triumph of patriarchy. Yet the new religions were a paradox, for at the same time they were actually a revolt against inequality, the very core of patriarchy. They proclaimed that all human beings were basically equal, and that's probably why they spread so fast. However little the new religions changed things in practice, they were a sign that people would break with patriarchy if they had the chance. Maybe now we have. The veil has made a comeback in Egypt recently, and fundamentalism is on the rise. But looks can be deceiving.
Even though there is no law that says women should wear the veil in Egypt, we see it all over the Muslim world. You know, why are women wearing the veil, and why are they willingly wearing the veil? We know that some are pressured to wear it. And I think that it's panicking the insecurity of patriarchy, and its need to say to women, you should be more controlled.
Patriarchy is right to panic because these young women behave in ways unimaginable to their grandmothers. When they put on the veil, it's not in submission to some 4,000-year-old law. Often it's just a tactic to move outside the house.
ما لبست الحجاب يعني في ناس كتير قوي احترمتني بالحجاب ده على الأقل يعني كان زمان كان في ناس كتير تبص لي لما ببقى ماشيه المعاكسات وكده فطبعا انا اللي كنت باخد ذنبهم لان انا اللي عامله في نفسي كده. فدلوقتي طبعا بعد ما لبست الزي الاسلامي ما لمش نفسي لو حد عكسني، انا كده عملت اللي عليا. وفي نفس الوقت برضك عدد المعاكسين قل لي كتير قوي قوي قوي، لان الواحد طبعا احترم نفسه في لبسه فاكيد الناس هيحترموه.
The modern economy pulls women into the workforce, and education gives them new ideas. Such rapid change has provoked a fundamentalist backlash. It's the same struggle that started centuries ago in the West, and it isn't over there yet either.
If you put it in perspective, we can say that the new right has become a universal phenomena. It takes the manifestation of women veiling in this culture. It takes other forms in other cultures. There are fascist movements in other cultures that demand certain forms of behavior. I'm sure there are similarities. I think the world economy is going through a crisis. And people always turn to religion or conservatism, to what they know.
All across the globe, a communications revolution is undermining the old ways. Television's bringing the images and ideas of an emerging global culture to traditional societies. And that's already having an impact on the power balance between the sexes everywhere.
People see a very alien world. Much of it is foreign. It's about places people have never been and will never go to. But people are avid to learn just how un-Islamic the stories can be. One incident was caused by television. 4 young girls decided to escape from the village and go to Cairo and become TV stars. They were, of course, brought back summarily, and they didn't get very far. But this had a great impact on the village, that television can be subversive.
Not this year, not this decade, but patriarchy is slowly collapsing. Even though male hierarchy and privilege still predominate everywhere. Even though every country in the world is still militarized. After 5,000 years, patriarchy is not just in our institutions, it's in our heads. But it is not in our genes. The problem is not human nature. It's that mass societies are still trapped inside the ancient machine they built thousands of years ago to deal with the problems of thousands of years ago. The machine called patriarchy was the only way to run an early mass society. It was refined into both a killing machine and a breeding machine as the early civilizations started fighting one another. And we conquered the whole planet with it, thousands of years ago. But now our weapons have become so destructive that we can no longer afford to fight major wars. And we don't actually have to live in patriarchal dictatorships anymore. Mass communications mean that we can be democratic. Patriarchy no longer makes sense as an institution.
I think we have built enormous monuments to man's domination. There was a photograph of all the new members of Congress. We were all lined up on the steps, and I was on the top step and ready to have this photograph taken. And 2 of the new members, 2 white males, just as the time the photograph went, they stood in front of me, and I am lost. It's as if I'm not there. It's sort of symbolic. There is no me, and I think I have to learn somehow to be able to move that aside and say, I'm here too.
Photographs like this may one day seem as bizarre as those old pictures of the Soviet leaders lined up on top of Lenin's tomb. And it will be as normal for women to hold power as it is for men to do the dishes.
Let's see, tomorrow we have NARAL.
Nike, the Gay and Lesbian Rights Coalition.
That's right.
Somebody that bought something, a dinner with you at an auction.
That's right, I have to take them to dinner, squeezed in amongst Nike.
Basically, what you do is you eat and drink in this job.
That's right. No. You try to avoid both the eating and the drinking, but you look like you're eating and drinking. All right, now I think we're ready. All right, good night. Good night. I think I have some passion. Good night.
There's no golden age coming, no happy ever afters, but patriarchy is in retreat on every front. And the vital front is right here, where men and women are changing the most fundamental human partnership. The process is often confusing and painful, but we are changing it, and that's a good reason to be hopeful about the human race. If we can achieve equality between the sexes, then the other big problems like war and nationalism and North-South are not insoluble either. And a century from now, people may have to explain to their kids about patriarchy the way we have to explain about slavery. And wouldn't that be nice?